Thank you. Cheers. All right, here we go. Some really cool talks so far. Although I do feel a little bit heavy. We talked about failure. Oh my God, that's so tough. You know, we talked about uncertain times. Rory talked about uncertain times. Jennifer talked about failure. Awesome topics, really, really important. But a lot of those things are at the back end of what we're doing. I want to try and talk at the front end. Maybe we can do some things to help ourselves at the very beginning. Maybe to reduce that failure a little bit. Maybe to reduce that uncertainty a little bit. To make life a little easier. So the most important 5 minutes of a new leader. What am I going to be talking about? I feel like my next slide is unnecessary because I've got such an awesome introduction. But I'll tell you very, very quickly why I'm here. You know, because you kind of need to know what do I know. Okay, this is some geezer from the street that's come over to talk. Well, I'm kind of a joke, Bob the Builder. Like you heard, I've built a lot of centers already in Kraków. So development center, software development lifecycle, that whole thing is in my blood. I fully understand that. So I can relate. You know, I've been there, done that. I've built centers, but a lot of it is about people. I mean, these are some of the logos that I've been at. I've been at EPAM. I built EPAM from scratch. You know, I was the very, very first employee of EPAM. Now it's about 6,000 strong or so. Had the pleasure of working at IBM, big corporation, trying to change the culture in IBM. That was an awesome assignment. I could do a whole. Actually, I do have a whole separate talk just about that. What it was like trying to change that. Really awesome. SolarWinds, I've built that. SKK, a smaller company, Polish company, about 100 people or so. But that was an awesome project because, again, I took over. I kind of joked it was a 25-year-old startup. They just didn't really get out of the mentality of being a startup and couldn't really progress. So that was a really cool transformation project going there as a CEO. And I worked with Alexa, with Amazon. Here, I'm going to stop a little bit and have a bit of a moment of pride, Polish pride. I'm not sure if a lot of you, obviously you know Alexa, you've used Alexa, you know about it, but did you know that originally Alexa is a Polish product? Started by a Polish company, and originally she was called Iwona, not Alexa. Yep. Written in Gdańsk by a team in Gdańsk, and Amazon bought the whole product, transformed it into Alexa. I think that they should have kept the name Iwona, because I reckon English-speaking people would have been saying, I wanna, which is exactly, I wanna do something. I think it would have been really cool. But they've renamed it to Alexa, and it is what it is. Okay? So, and the most important logo, the biggest one, is Kraków King. I'm very proud of that one. That one's got the most zeros in my remuneration. I get the most. Unfortunately, there isn't one at the front. It's completely voluntary. But yes, we are the national champions right now. But no congratulations to me. I just look pretty on the sideline. It's all about the players, and they actually win. So I mentioned that is because a lot of things I learn are from sports. I bring sports into business into sports, and intermix those things because they're really, really valuable lessons. But let's talk about this. The most important 5 minutes of a leader. What am I talking about? Well, I've had the pleasure of hiring a lot of people in my time. I mean, I'm talking hundreds, literally, both in the interview process and actually hiring. And I keep looking for one particular skill in all these people, and I cannot find that skill. Keep looking for it, but I can't find that skill. Hundreds of people. And that skill is reading my mind. I keep looking for it, but I can't find people that can read my mind. So if I can't find that skill, why the hell do I keep expecting people to do it? And we all do it. Whenever we hire somebody, what's the very first thing we expect them? We expect them to figure out how they're supposed to work with us. Okay? Even back to what you were saying, you know, when you're a business analyst, a lot of times you probably expect, why don't they understand what I'm thinking? Why don't they just get what I want? Well, how about we do something a little bit different? Instead of trying to do that and trying to figure out what they're saying, how about we simply tell them? Pretty simple, pretty obvious, right? But when we really start thinking about it, how about we start our relationship with our teams by doing an expose? Okay? An expose is essentially, some of you have seen it. I know it's a really bad example. Yes, the president and the prime minister always do the expose at the beginning. I know we don't trust politicians, we don't like them, but look what they're doing. They're essentially standing up in front of us and telling us, look, this is what I'm going to do. This is what you can expect from me. These are the potential changes I'm going to make. This is what's going to happen. This is how it potentially will impact these people and these people and these people. So that at the end, in theory, you can hold me accountable. Yes, I know we can't figure that out yet, that part. With politics, democracy doesn't really work, but we don't have anything else. But look how valuable that is. Now imagine if you started a job and your boss, she stood in front of you and said, look, this is what it's going to be like working with me. This is who I am. This is what my values are like. This is the kind of behaviors I'm really going to promote. These are the kind of behaviors I'm not going to stand for. This is what we want to accomplish together. And these are our aims. And this is what's going to happen. Bit of a game changer, isn't it? Okay, suddenly you don't have to be figuring out. Suddenly you don't have to know, well, how do I communicate with that person? Is it email? Is it phone? Do I just walk into their office? It would be so much simpler if they just simply told me that right from the beginning. So that's the whole idea. Because as absurd as it sounds, what we end up doing is we end up asking our people to play a game, but we don't tell them what the rules are. We just put them on the field and say, right, play. A lot of people at Barnum, we have that kind of a joke saying that we used to have that in our PE lessons in sports, where the PE teacher used to just come in and throw a ball and say, yeah, you guys play, and he would go and have his coffee in the little room. But we're doing something even worse to our teams. We're telling them, go into the field and play. So, okay, I've got the ball, but what do I do with it? Do I kick it? Do I punch it? Do I throw it? Do I hit it with some kind of an object? Figure it out. Kind of absurd when you really start thinking about it, okay? So instead of getting people to try and figure things out, let's set out some clear rules so that we know what we're going to be doing. And those rules are quite simple. Introduce yourself. Clarify what the situation is. Clarify why you're doing this expose, why you're in that situation. And here's the very, very important and key one that could really change all of it. Any new managers, somebody that's just started, that was on the journey, or is thinking about starting to be a team leader or a manager, okay? All right. So usually what happens is that it's a tough thing, right? You've been part of a team. Now you're being promoted into leading that team. You're not really sure how you're going to do things, right? You had friends in the team. Now you're suddenly their boss. You're kind of a little bit lost. And you think, ooh, how's this going to work out? Wouldn't it be easier if you just stood in front of them and said, listen, up to yesterday, I was your mate. We're on the same level. Now I've been charged with being in charge of this team. It's a difficult time for me. I'm a little bit lost and I'm not sure how this is going to work. Help me out. Help me transition into this role, because I want to make sure that we're the best that we can be as a team. I don't want to be up here and trying to pretend I'm some great boss. I just simply want to work together. Want to help you. Want to help us be the best. Help me to do this. Now think about it. When you're that person part of that team, and you just saw Rory was a mate of yours up to yesterday. Now suddenly he's a team leader, thinking, what's it going to be like working with him? Suddenly he's asked and said, can you help me with this, because I'm not sure. I think that slightly lowers the inhibition, and suddenly it's going to be a little bit easier. Suddenly when he's a little bit lost, I'm gonna reach out and help him, say, hey, probably think about maybe like this, or this is, you sure you meant to say this, or how about we try this? Really changes the situation. Suddenly there's a chance that they're going to have empathy, as opposed to just thinking, oh yeah, go ahead, yeah, let's see you as a big boss, right? See how you do, right? Makes things a lot easier. Okay, perhaps it's a big transition, big change in the company. Something's changed. We've reorganized the whole company. You find yourself in this position. Say, look, we've got a big reorg. We're going to change the way we're working. That's why I'm here. Perhaps we've got new targets. A whole bunch of things. Or we got some new people in a team. All right, they're a bit lost. We've got some new people that have joined the team. So I want to do this expose so that we all know how we're supposed to be working. All right. Even more difficult for somebody new that's coming in. Let's say we already have a team. We're nice. We're great. Everything's working fine. And we're bringing a new person in. They're going to have a tough time trying to figure out what it's going to be like. So how about we just do this and explain to them what it's going to be like to work together? Then let's talk about values. That word values. Okay, I could do a whole presentation just on values, because I know a lot of us cringe as soon as we hear values and think, yeah, that's just corporate crap. It's just so that we can show to our clients what it is. Values are actually a very important thing. Okay, values tell us how we're meant to behave. They tell us what the company really wants the culture to be and how we meant to behave. And I don't want to go too deep into this because, again, it's a separate presentation. But if you're not sure what decision to make, you've got a difficult decision to make as a leader and you're not sure which way to go. A client has called and they want something for Monday morning. So you're like, well, we've got to come in for the whole weekend and do this. And you're not sure, do I bring in my whole team for the whole weekend? Or do I say to the client, well, no, sorry, we don't do that kind of overtime. We'll start this on Monday. And you're not sure which one you should do. How do you make that decision? It's actually quite simple. You look at your company values and they should tell you, because the company says the client is the most important thing. And the client says jump, we ask how high. Then that tells you pretty clearly that the company you're working for expects you to bring in your team for the weekend and work throughout the weekend and get this ready for Monday. But if on the other hand, your company has a set of values that say people are very, very important, that's our number one thing. We respect their time, we respect what they do outside of work, and we don't do things like weekends and so on, because people are the most important, work-life balance is the most important. Again, you've got a simple answer. You know that you say to your client, listen, our values don't really allow us to come in over the weekend and do this, so let's talk about how we can do this without the whole team coming in. And that's why values are so important. Okay, so why don't we start by telling the people what the values are of the company? I beg you, please don't roll out slides from HR with values, because straight away people will just turn off and think, oh my God, it's another one of those. No, use your own words. If you have slides, use your own slides and explain, look, this is what the company values are. And this is where it interacts with my personal values, because my personal values are this and this and this, because they really should sync up. Because if you're all about client 100% and your company's all about personal, then there might not be a synergy. Your values need to be in sync. But 100% in sync, I understand that might be a little bit difficult, but in a general direction, the same as the company. So talk about your values, what's really important to you as an individual, and how you're going to be running this team. Okay, principles. Okay, talk about your principles. It's incredibly important, and talk about the positive and negatives behaviors and attitude that you're going to accept and not accept. And this is very, very important. I want to give some real life examples. Okay, as you can see, my talk is mostly about real life example. You can actually implement this, maybe even tomorrow. Might sound like a funny example, but let's just say you've been brought up as an individual on time, right? We start on time. If we say at 9 o'clock, we start at 9 o'clock, not 9:05, not 9:01, not 9:15, 9 o'clock. And you have a team member who's been brought up, we call it the student quarter, right? Kwadrans studencki, right? As long as you arrive within the first 15 minutes, it counts as being on time, okay? And somebody could have been brought up like that, and that's fine. Now you have a new team member that's like that. And every time you have your meeting at 9 o'clock, let's say your daily stand-up or whatever, or your daily huddle, and this person rolls in 2 minutes late, 5 minutes late, 8 minutes late, whatever, and they're fully engaged. They come in, they've got ideas, they're always engaged in the meeting. And you, what's your approach? A little bit like my mom. Complete and utter disrespect. This person's coming in late on purpose. My mom always thought I was coming in late on purpose just to piss her off. Like, Mom, trust me, the whole tram system isn't designed just to piss you off. Okay, it really isn't like that. But not to her was, look, it's on time, it's on time. So that's kind of how I've been brought up. So now imagine that's what I'm like, right? So every time somebody rolls in 2 minutes late, I'm thinking complete disrespect. So really, I'm not all that keen to get this person involved in the meeting. Whenever they have something to say in the meeting, I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I'll focus on the other people that are really listening, that are focused on what I'm doing and can actually turn up on time, right? So now, imagine what happens, let's say 2 months into our relationship, right? We're having a one-to-one, to summarize, let's say a quarter or whatever, right? This person's coming to a meeting with me thinking, oh my God, I got to go have a meeting with that idiot Dawid, right? Really, it's mobbing, right? It's bullying. Every single time I'm in a meeting with him, he's pushing me away. He doesn't really want me involved in the meetings. This is just a nightmare. I really don't want to go. What am I thinking getting ready for this meeting? Oh my God, if she turns up 2 minutes late, I am just going to fire her on the spot. All right? Notoriously, she's late, she's disrespectful. I don't even want to meet with her. All right? And it's all because I didn't do a simple thing like just explaining at the beginning, look, it's really important that we start our meetings on time. I can't focus, when somebody comes in late. So please, can we just start on time? That's a very important thing for me. So now this person has an opportunity to come in when they come in late, say, look, I'm really sorry, something just come up. All right, cool. As long as they acknowledge, and say something, that completely changes my attitude. So suddenly we've gone from a negative situation where potentially neither of us want to work with each other to a potential synergy understanding where we're coming from. And there's a world of other things that we can save ourselves a lot of trouble if we simply say what those positive and negative behaviors are and how we're going to be working together at the beginning, not in that first meeting when I want to fire her, she doesn't want to come to it, and so on and so forth. Trying to figure out that point is going to be really, really difficult because I'm already frustrated and she's already not happy. Okay. If you really want to promote certain behaviors, make sure you say it at the very beginning. One of the things I do with the Krakow Kings is attendance is incredibly important at practice. It's incredibly important. So that's the first thing I explain to any new player that comes in. It is really important that you're at every single practice. It is the foundation of everything that we do. Missing practice is not okay. It's not the culture of our team. You got to be at practice and you got to set your schedule. Practices are always at regular times. We don't move practice. We don't cancel practice. So you can set your calendar around that so that you can be committed to being part of our team. Say that at the beginning so that then we don't have frustration when somebody misses some practices later on. We explain to them why it's important and why it also sinks in with the values of our company. So it's really important to do that at the beginning. Give us a vision, a look to the future, okay? Please, please, please don't mention targets, numerical targets, because as soon as you mention a numerical target, this whole meeting is going to become a meeting about KPIs, OKRs, whatever system you use, and all the questions are going to be around that. So a general vision of what you want to accomplish together, okay? We want to win a championship together. That's what we're going towards. When I took over a team and we're doing a transition into Agile, I said to them, I didn't give them in this meeting targets. I had certain targets, velocity and all those things, and when we wanted to go Agile. I just said to them, I want us to be an example of agility and the transformation into agility, the mindset and the procedures. And I want other teams who are also going through this transition to be coming to us and saying, how do you guys do this? What kind of hints can you give us for us to make that transition more successful? All right. See that? It's a vision of what we want to accomplish as a team, not any specific measurements that they can talk about. We have a goal. We have our championship that we can drive towards. We can bind around that and start moving forward. Okay. And then at the very end, what else? At the very end, leave a space for questions. Okay. You need to make sure that people are able to ask questions. What's going to happen? You say, all right, any questions? Silence. Nobody's going to ask any questions. Why is that? Fear. Fear of two things. Fear of looking like an idiot in front of your peers, in front of the other people, and fear of looking like an idiot in front of the person that's presenting. Natural, all of us have it. Everybody has it. It's a completely natural thing. A lot of us also have imposter syndrome, where we're kind of sitting there thinking, you think I didn't have the same thing coming out here? Oh my God, what are these people going to think of me? This topic is ridiculous. It's obvious. We all have this. Okay. It's a natural thing for all of us. So that's why people don't want to ask questions. So my little trick, what I recommend is that you say, all right, go for coffee. All right. Go and have a coffee. We'll come back to question and answers in an hour's time or maybe tomorrow. And what's going to happen? People are going to go for coffee with whom? With the person they trust the most, with their friend, with their buddy, or somebody that they've simply known the longest at the company, all of 4 days, okay? But at least it's somebody that they've already spoken to, and they'll go to that person and say, hey, listen, do you know what he was talking about? I have no idea. Oh, good, I'm not the only one, okay? So now it's a lot easier to go and ask that question because there's two of you that don't understand what was happening, and you'll do that. If there's going to be a revolt and they all get together and stuff, great. I'd rather have that revolt right now than 6 months down the line. I'd rather answer all those questions right now. So this works every single time. It is really valuable. Far better than any online questionnaires, anonymous questionnaires. Just simply go and get them to hang out with their friends and talk about what you just said. It really, really works. Okay? So to summarize, clarity, importance, ability to identify. If you simply mention all those things, if you make it very clear, very important, all these people are going to be able to identify to what you're talking about, and it's really going to work. They're going to know straight away what they're supposed to be working on and how this works. Coherence of the leader, team, and organization. All of these things suddenly go together. You explain to them the big values, your values, and how we're going to be working as a team together. Okay. Here's an example. If you want to take a quick picture of what potentially an expose could be like, this is completely different for each one of you. I know there's far too much information on here. I'm not going to read it all out because we're running out of time. But just to summarize, remember, it is really important to introduce yourself, clarify what's happening, talk about the values, talk about your principles, the positive and negative attitudes that you're going to really promote and which ones you're not going to accept. Talk about what we're going to accomplish as a team together. And then leave a space for question. It is that simple, okay? Trust me, it will change the way you work with your teams. People will suddenly know how to work with your team. You'll get rid of a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty, which we talked about, because people are going to know who you are straight away, how to work with you. It's going to make things a lot easier. And hopefully those failures are going to be a little bit reduced because they won't be afraid to maybe come to you a little bit earlier and talk about, look, we've got a potential failure that's coming up here. Can we talk about this? Okay. Because you've gotten a little bit closer with your team, and that's incredibly important. Thank you very much for your time.